Hello and welcome to episode 16 of the Shadow Cult podcast. I got it right this time. I got it right. I didn't brain fart myself for once. And yes, we are getting closer to the end of Summerslam month, and ironically, we're doing this episode on the day of Summerslam 2020, but I will not be watching it this time around, so sorry, but we are doing a classic, so to speak, SummerSlam, as myself, Scott, and Walt are here for episode 16, and we are talking SummerSlam 1995. Oh boy, 1995, how we've missed you.
Not.
Yeah, and I was only one when this pay-per-view happened, so...
Mm-hmm.
So, as the usual with the show, we do the statistics, the foo, and then the show itself. But I figured before we talk everything, I just want to make a couple of announcements of what's coming soon for this podcast. So next week is the final episode for SummerSlam month, as we are going to be talking SummerSlam 2002, one of my favorite shows of all time. September, still getting ideas going, although James, We Are Pro Wrestling, messaged me saying, how about we do a Fall Brawl pay-per-view for September? And I was like, you know what, that's a good idea. Which Fall Brawl? We're going to take requests on that. What year of Fall Brawl from 93 through 99, I believe, of which of those Fall Brawls you want to see us cover for a potential episode in September. A little quick note, and this will be the first time Scott and Walt will hear this, and it'll be the first time you all hear this. There will be a period next month where there might be 2 off weeks, because September 19th through the 27th, I'm going to be gone on a cross-country trip. I'm going as far as Montana. It's going to be that big, so I wouldn't be around to do an episode during that time, but not to say that the show is going away forever, of course not. We will be back.
We'll
just
break.
A little 1 to 2 week break, depending on everything that happens. We might do a special Friday night episode, possibly the night before I leave, to kind of make up for it. So that could be the night when we do the Fall Brawl show, because I do know Unbreakable 2005 is going to be one of the reviews coming in September. The other one, I'm still thinking Money in the Bank 2011, because so many people request that show, and even Dylan, aka Kamikaze Games, might join us for that episode, which will be quite cool if we were to get to that point. Mm-hmm. But those are just a couple of quick announcements for you guys to kind of get you guys up to speed on what's going to be happening. But once I return, regular schedule going forward, the Halloween Havoc month with Evolution in between, and then Survivor Series month in November, Starrcade month in December. 2021, still figuring out how that's going to go. I'm pretty certain, though, January is going to be Royal Rumble month. February, we can go all over the place. March, WrestleMania month. It has to be WrestleMania month, and then off to the races we go after that.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So now with...
let's get there first. We'll worry about it when we get there. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, we're booking 8 months out. Jeez.
Yeah.
I know. But I like to think ahead, because unlike WWE, a lot of the times they don't think ahead. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But anyways...
Say no more.
So anyways, now that that's out of the way, let's begin talking about SummerSlam 1995, and we're going to start with the numbers. So SummerSlam 1995 took place at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on August 27th, 1995. Had an attendance of 18,062 fans, 17,000 of which paid. Live gate of $353,705. Pay-per-view buys of $205,000. Compared to the rest of the pay-per-views in 1995, SummerSlam was the was the highest attended pay-per-view. Second highest live gate, WrestleMania was first, and was the third highest bought pay-per-view, WrestleMania was first, Royal Rumble was second. Compared to SummerSlam 1994, everything was down from 1994, as SummerSlam 94 had 235,000 in the pay-per-view buys, 23,000 people, and $386,000 in the live gates. So yeah, definitely went down a little bit from 1994. But the fact that during this time, as we've touched on in episodes in the past, particularly King of the Ring 95, wrestling as a whole was not doing that good in 1995. Still in the wrestling recession. That would eventually go away by the end of the year, going into 96 for the most part, as far as things starting to get back up a little bit. But the fact that SummerSlam was able to get over 18,000 people is pretty remarkable for this time. Now, with the numbers and all that out of the way, time for everyone's favorite part of this, the foo. Scott, what kind of food do we have on hand for SummerSlam 1995?
We got all kinds of fun food going on here. First thing to mention is, don't know if you guys had checked into this, but just to mention it, this pay-per-view takes place 8 days before the very first Nitro. The first Monday Nitro happens 8 days after this pay-per-view. So that's a little fact there that we like to throw in there.
And another quick fact, the first SummerSlam to take place on a Sunday night. Whereas every other SummerSlam before was on a Monday night.
Really? I never thought of that.
Yep.
I never realized that either. Okay.
Yeah.
And James just confirmed it in the chat, so thank you.
Thank you, James.
Wow.
As always.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to
continue.
SummerSlam 1995 foo fun here. So on this pay-per-view, we have Jerry Lawler commentary. We get the Stridex blimp. Many What a Maneuver calls and Mullet Mania. It's the 90s. Those are just going to keep happening every time we do these things. We get a lot of Sunny close-ups. We have a telestrator. Not bad. 3 title matches. And getting into the wrestling, we have chain wrestling. 1 tilt-a-whirl slam, 1 cartwheel back elbow. By the way, there's more technical names for these things. I did not know them. I just wrote down what the moves were. Sorry. But you can always correct me in the comments. That's fine. We have 1 Bronco Buster before it was technically called a Bronco Buster, but it's not the guy who was known for the Bronco Buster doing the Bronco Buster. We have 1 cartwheel moonsault to the floor, 1 springboard plancha, 1 slingshot leg drop, 1 frog splash, 1 sorta kinda power bomb, 1 hot shot, 1 DDT, 1 pedigree, 1 proto-famouser / rocker dropper, 1 double layout power bomb, 1 Vegematic, 1 coming in the hard way, 2 inside-outside suplexes to the floor, 1 second rope leg drop, 1 Thez press, 1 top rope headbutt, 1 superplex, 1 crucifix, 1 Hurricane Rana, 1 sit-out power bomb, 1 old school before it was called old school, 1 swinging net breaker, 1 choke slam, 1 tombstone, 1 slingshot plancha, 1 hangman, 1 top rope suspended leg drop, 1 sharpshooter, 1 super fall-away slam, 1 back superplex off the ladder, 1 moonsault off the ladder, 1 double crotch on the top rope, 1 razor's edge, 1 ref bump, and 1 diving forearm. For the foo, we have Shinsaki foo, Blue Blood foo, Blue Blood foo, excuse me. We have Smoking foo, Jew foo, Fey foo, Casket foo, Post foo, Hog tie foo, Double ladder foo, and Cool foo. There you have it.
That's quite a bit of foo right there for this show.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, so...
And as I said, if I missed anything, let us know in the comments.
Yep. 1 Doc Hendricks commentary, 1 throwing a ladder out of anger.
I did wrote down 1 public bitch session from Shawn Michaels over the belt not being hung properly, but I figured we would just get to that in the discussion of the match itself. So
Yeah.
I think it was necessary to put on the list.
Yeah. But anyway, so now on to the show itself. For once, no dark matches. And when we do these reviews, we have 9 matches. Let's begin. So we kick things off with pretty much almost an unadvertised bonus match to kick things off. You have the 1-2-3 Kid versus Hakushi. Of course, this is one of the few matches on this show that had really no story or build to it. For that, these two were able to go out, didn't need it, and they went out and had a pretty damn good opening match.
Hell of an opener. Here's a fun fact about Hakushi. As Scott and I know, Jinsei Shinzaki, all right, he came to the company a little earlier that year or earlier the year before.
Late 94. Late
94. Fun fact, the original spot for Hakushi, the Hakushi gimmick, was meant for Eiji Azaki, a.k.a. Hayabusa. Hayabusa was in Mexico, learning his craft and developing the Hayabusa gimmick. He got offered the WWF spot, but he also got offered a spot in FMW. He did not want to give up the Hayabusa gimmick because he spent, the past year or two in Mexico developing that gimmick and earning a reputation. Plus, he also got the opportunity to work in the J-Cup 94, which is what he wanted to do. And he was also getting homesick. So he turned down the spot, but he says, I know a guy. And that was enter Jinsei Shinzaki, whose gimmick was pretty similar in Michinoku Pro as it was to WWF. I mean, he wasn't called Hakushi over there, but pretty much it was the same thing. The white pants, and all they did was add the fake tattoos, and there you go.
Yep. And then
great opener, man. I thought it was a good opening match.
Yeah, really good match. And
the space. He even does the space flying tiger drop, which is rarely seen. Mm-hmm. And I love the finish. The finish was fantastic, out of nowhere, and good counter move. Nothing outrageous and over the top, just enough to get the crowd off their feet and register a win.
I did like the slow pacing at the beginning. It was a lot of tackle, drop down, nip up, stalemate, that kind of stuff, and a prototypical spot setup type match that you would see the indies do for many years to come. Same old format.
Absolutely. And in the end, Hakushi defeated the 1-2-3 Kid in 9 minutes 27 seconds. To me, perfect time for this match.
Exactly.
Didn't have to go long. Didn't have to be short. Yep. It was perfect.
Yep. This had the
warm up the crowd.
This had the sort of power bomb I mentioned in the statistics there for the finish. And yeah, Hakushi does like a Bronco Buster to 1-2-3 Kid. That just became, I guess, what 1-2-3 Kid took later on. So instead of he only does one bounce. He doesn't do the ride him cowboy.
Constant
he doesn't ride him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ride him cowboy.
Did Hakushi did the rope walk in WWF?
No.
Oh, no, I didn't think so because that was an Undertaker spot. I didn't think
he was not going to do. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole thing. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I was trying to remember if he ever did it or not, and I think he just got that. I think he might have got that from Taker when he went back.
Yeah. Real quick before moving on, Arthur Jones in the comments said, after this, Hakushi went from big push to jobber. Essentially, because they turned him face later on in the show, in which we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But yeah, after this show, he started to go down the card a little bit. Which is unfortunate, because he could have had potential to at least been an Intercontinental Champion. I wouldn't have seen him be WWF Champion, but maybe a good hand in the IC title department.
Enough to put him over Sean. Sorry.
That is a good point. Maybe if he was around, maybe if he stuck around in the '96, then maybe because Sean would have been in the world title at that point, so he wouldn't have had to worry about the vice grip of Shawn Michaels.
We'll never know, but he left on good terms and helped form the relationship between Michinoku Pro and WWF, which led to all the stuff coming in '97 and '98. That was based primarily on their relationship with Jinsei Shinzaki, aka Hakushi.
And Joey does mention he believes Hayabusa was a character in Street Fighter 2, but Hayabusa was also a character, if not there, in the original NES pro wrestling game.
Hayabusa. Fighter Hayabusa, Yep.
So,
but moving on to the second match, we have Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Bob Sparkplug Holly. Oh, this
match.
Bob Sparkplug Holly. Good Lord, what a gimmick. And yet I'm a NASCAR guy, even though I hate what the sport is right now. But a NASCAR character in wrestling, I get Bob Holly, big NASCAR guy, but really.
I said before, Levi, if you were 6 or 7 years old when this match happened, Bob Holly would have been your guy.
Probably. He probably would have been. And of course.
Metal mullet, wrestler, NASCAR. All the trifecta for you.
Yeah.
Sparky Plug. That was his original.
Thurman Sparky
quickly
Plug.
changed.
Yeah.
Thurman Sparky
Yep.
Plug.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. And on top
Nice
of
guy
that,
though.
Yeah,
Good
you
guy.
got to meet him.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Of course, we all know what Bob Holly became, Hardcore Holly, and also known to have a parent chip on his shoulder. So when he got booked for a show, I was ring announcing for. I was like, oh god, Bob Holly's gonna be there. I'm a little worried. Super freaking nice guy though. I was unbelievable. He was like Bob. He was like Sparkplug Holly. He was all smiles and handshakes and high fives and hugs.
Hey man, what's up?
Yep. Yep. Had a hell of a match with Bobby Ocean that night too. Hell of a match.
How could you not have a hell of a match with Bobby Ocean?
yeah.
How could you
not be Bob Holly? I guess I don't know.
And a quick note: this was Triple H's WWF pay-per-view debut match because he had debuted on TV 3 months prior in May, but this was his first pay-per-view match. And for his first pay-per-view match, it was okay. It was an all right match.
It was quick.
Yeah.
It was quick.
Timing is
Two
off.
things I like to point.
Timing is definitely
but one,
off.
Bob's got a sweet drop kick. We all knew that.
Yeah.
And two, I love the transition into the pedigree. That was original. That was cool. Going in for the back body drop and then Hunter shifting his way downward to bring Bob back down and put him in the pedigree. Good night. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I just found some of the other transitions during the match a little off kilter here and there. It's like they weren't clicking. No pun intended, with a lot of the chemistry in the ring. So it was like kind of but as you just said, this is Triple H's first pay-per-view with the company. He's probably nervous. Bob Holly, he doesn't know his position in the company. It's like, all right, I got to put this new guy over here, so let's see how this goes.
I wonder what Bob said to Hunter. He goes, how about this? How about we go out there, I'll kick your ass and pin you whether you like it or not.
I didn't know Bob Holly was a part of the Al Perez family.
Oh, but in the end,
how about I go out there, kick your ass, and take the belt?
How about y'all give me the belt and I beat everybody?
Tell you what, you give me the money, I'll take you out back, kick you in the nuts, and we'll all go home.
Oh, Vegas Vacation. Oh, I love that moment.
You got it.
Yep. I have watched that movie more than 100 times. So
I don't think I got the line perfect, but
it was close. It was close.
It was close. It was close. Yeah.
But anyways, Hunter Hearst That's it, Griswold. You are freaking dead.
What did I get for $5?
But in the end, Hunter Hearst Helmsley beat Bob Holly in 7 minutes 10 seconds. Moving into the next match, another throwaway match, tag team match. You have the Blue Brothers, Jacob and Eli Blue, with Uncle Zebekiah, Zeb Coulter, Dirty Dutch Mantel, whatever you may want to call him, versus Billy and Bart, the Smoking Guns. And real quick, I have to go and get something from my back porch, so I'll let these fine gentlemen here, talk a bit about the match while I will be right back in just a minute.
Okay. So this was, the Blue Brothers, or the Harris Twins, or the Bruise Brothers, however you came to know them at the time. Yeah. They had come from, they were in Smoky Mountain, I think, first.
I was saying, I'm trying to figure out when they went to ECW. Was it before this or was it after this?
I want to say it was after this. Anybody in the comments, you can clarify that. Go ahead.
I always found these guys a wasted opportunity, honestly. Big, freaking strong dudes. Okay, sure, not the most technically sound, but I will tell you this. If it was Jim Crockett Promotions in 1987-88, Chicago Street Fight with the Road Warriors, UIC Pavilion, that match alone would have sold the freaking building out.
Very true.
I'm not wrong. I mean, they did have actually those exact two teams. They have a few later down the road. Look at you putting your glasses on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Getting old, folks. Got to put the readers on.
Oh, this is a key episode. That's a debut of the Scott glasses.
Yeah, I just got these.
I can't wait. I can't wait till the first Mr. Scott reaction. That's gonna be great.
Well, I'm not gonna have them all like that. That's just silly.
History's been made. History's been made.
And boo, glasses. So we're trying to figure out the timeline when the Blue Brothers / the Harris Twins / the Bruise Brothers first came to WWF. If they were in Smoky Mountain, then ECW, then WWF, or if it was a different timeline.
I'm looking.
He's gonna look it up.
Did you find? I'm looking it up.
You're the man with that, so you go right ahead. But so you had the Blue Brothers.
I was just telling Scott that I think
Yeah,
Let me
them
see.
and then
they were ECW first. They went to ECW first, but then they went back. They went back back and forth. They bounced between ECW. Yep.
Gotcha.
ECW in '94. They actually won the titles in their first stint there. They were the Bruise Brothers. Well, actually, that's what they were called. Yeah. Then they went to '95, where they were Jacob and Eli Blue, hence where we are here. And then they went back to ECW again, and were actually part of Raven's Nest for a very short time. Then they went back to WWF for good that time, from 1996 to 1999, when they were part of the DOA gimmick. Skull and 8-Ball.
And then went to WW, the Harris Twins, and that whole thing. So,
and then to TNA.
There's the history, and James confirms that they debuted at WWF at Royal Rumble 1995. So thank you, James. So, you got two young, hungry tag teams here. They go all out in this match. They do not slow down for anything. They go out there, balls out. And you got a bunch of tough dudes, too. There's nobody that's going to screw with the Harris Twins. There's nobody that's really going to mess with Billy or Bart at this time. So it's like,
Rumor has it. I mean, if Joe Laurinaitis hears this, he'll probably tear me and rip me a new one. But whatever, he's probably not going to. Rumor has it one of the few teams that the Road Warriors did not, have to take liberties with, because they'll give it right back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were bigger than them, so.
well, that was the thing. Billy Gunn is exceedingly sizable wall. Everybody realizes how big Billy Gunn is, and Bart's a big dude too.
Yeah,
and the Harris Twins were bigger than both of them.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, like I said, with this match, it's like the first real rugged match of the show. It's really straight up, no bullshit. They're right in each other's faces. Note the covered up SS tattoos on the twins there too. You can add lightning bolts all you want, guys. You were still fucking Nazis. So anyway, moving on from that. So straight up though, it's a good strong match. It gets a little ragged part wise in some cases there, but good finish. I think it made sense. Didn't really use Zeb at all. Didn't really need to. Gets the job done.
Yeah, the one thing that bothers me about this match is the fact we had this, but the tag titles were not on the line. And the champs, Owen and Yokozuna, they could have done something different here. I mean, I get at this point in time in mainstream wrestling, triple threat matches were still a very foreign concept on the mainstream level. You had them in ECW just a year prior, but it's like, looking back, it's easy to say it should have been a triple threat, but still in the mainstream sense, that was still
I think Yoko was hurt at this time. I think Yokozuna was hurt at this time. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's why they weren't on this card.
It's quite possible in that time frame.
Yeah. This is when he was really starting to get big, and and he was becoming more injury prone. I know he broke his ankle a few times.
Yep. Yeah, the weight was just getting way too out of control. His body couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But in the end, Smoking Guns beat the Blue Brothers in 6 minutes 9 seconds. And
good tag match. That was the thing. This pay-per-view is deemed as one of the worst SummerSlams ever. But we have just had 3 matches: a great opener, an okay match with Bob Holly and Triple H, and a good tag match. So now we're still pretty good.
Far. So far,
it's watchable.
Yeah.
Yes, it's watchable. Yeah.
And speaking of watchable matches, now we get into finally a match that has some build and story to it. Skip versus Barry Horowitz. Of course, this all stems from the feud that lasted the month prior, where, of course, many people know Barry Horowitz was a resident jobber in WWF there to be enhancement talent to put people over, and was very reliable in that spot. Then they decide, you know what? Let's give him something good, because he's been good for us. Let's give him a nice thing. And pulls an upset victory over Skip, where we get the classic JR quote, "Horowitz wins! Horowitz wins! Horowitz wins!"
Thing is, at that time, how old was I? 95? I think I just turned 16. The weird thing about that is I couldn't perceive Barry Horowitz as a jobber anymore. Because he was in Global at that time, and he was one of the top heels, and he was the light heavyweight champion. I'm like, wow, Barry Horowitz is winning matches. So when he came back, I'm like, okay, he's won. Okay, I've seen him win before. I mean, it's not a big deal, but still cool. They're giving him a push, and he's on a pay-per-view spot at a major company.
He had a baseball card. Remember those cards they had at the time? He got one. He did.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
And I heard shortly after his release from WWF, he actually sold copies of that match, autographed VHS copies of that match as a gimmick. His only win. Well, it wasn't his only WWF win. As we continue,
Yeah.
So,
I did find it was a weird thing I got to do when I was booking a promotion in Vermont back in 2000, 2001. Me and Walt were there, of course. I would get emails from various talents, looking for spots. I actually got an email from Barry Horowitz, and he lived in Florida at the time. And we're in Vermont. We're a nothing promotion, and I got an email from him. I'm like, how the hell did you get my email, first of all? How did you hear about our promotion? And you want to come all the way to Vermont from Florida to work? What?
well, according to some, we were going to be the next big thing. So we
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, some people. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So
That's like with Conan, but that is another story.
oh Lord. Oh boy. But anyway, so Barry Horowitz versus Skip, aka Chris Candido. The one complaint I have about this match is I don't know if there was a fuck up on the part of Sonny or was correct me if I'm wrong. Hebner was the ref in this match, right?
Yes. He was.
Okay. I don't know because there was at one point where Sonny throws in the towel and Hebner throws her out, but she's still at ringside for the rest of the match.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if Sonny just misunderstood or Hebner didn't. I don't know. That was really confusing to me. Because I see him go, "You out of here!" But she's still at ringside for the rest of the match. It's like, okay. But apart from that, I thought this match was actually good. I thought this was a good match.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And of course,
Barry Horowitz can go, despite that he didn't win matches, but the guy could work. And so obviously Chris Candido was fantastic. That's obvious, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Candido is he was probably throwing so many ideas like that. One of the suplex spots I talked about earlier, the inside-outside suplex happens in this match. It's Candido taking it to the floor, which was something that Candido did quite often. So he's probably throwing
I got
a great idea.
I got a great idea. How about you give me that superplex on the floor? Get over. Yeah.
Tammy, don't tell Tammy. Don't tell Tammy. I don't want her to know.
Oh man. But anyways, and then we get to the finish, and they built this up in the promo package and the stuff before the match that on an episode of Action Zone prior to SummerSlam, you had a match where it was Barry Horowitz versus Hakushi, and Skip inadvertently cost Hakushi the match. So Hakushi comes out, so this is the second time we see Hakushi on this show, to distract Skip by jumping over him to the other side of the ring, and then Horowitz with the roll-up. 1, 2, 3. Barry Horowitz beats Skip in 11 minutes, 21 seconds.
Yep, crowd loves it.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, Horowitz wins! Horowitz wins! Horowitz wins!
Was that an Oklahoma roll that Horowitz used in the first match they had?
Oklahoma roll was kind of like what they did in the first match. This was just an inside cradle, small package.
That's what I meant. In the first match, it was like
first match we actually beat him was like an amateur style half Nelson into a roll up type thing. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And Arthur Jones just pointed out, and Barry had a shirt too.
Yes.
Good on him.
Yep.
Good on him to get his own shirt.
Yeah, that was the thing. I just really had to have his theme music be like a Hava Nikila knockoff. Really, come on.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's Vince.
That's Vince for you. We need a Jewish star, pal. Come on.
Oh, or Pat Patterson be like, the Jewish community will hear it and they'll go banana.
Oh, banana.
Banana.
Total banana.
They'll go banana.
See the meat. I can see the meat.
Banana. They'll go banana. They'll go banana.
I can see Patterson well, the Italians had Bruno and the Puerto Rican had Pedro Morales. We'll give the Jewish people the star now. Mm-hmm. And they'll go banana.
They'll go banana.
Moving on to the final match of the first half of the card, and the first of 3 championship matches for the WWF Women's Championship. Champion Alundra Blaze defending against challenger Bertha Faye with Harvey Whippleman in her corner. Oh, Lord. Yeah, this match, not so
work with what you got.
good. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing with the women's match. The women's division at this time was good, but there was 3 or 4 women in it.
Yeah.
Alundra Blaze, Bull Nakano, Bertha Faye, and occasionally they'll bring in Hayley Morgan or Leilani Kai.
Yeah.
Or another Japanese.
Bertha Faye. Here's the thing with Bertha Faye, though. She built her career up in Japan. Here's what happened. She tried going through the Hearts. She tried going through, and they turned her away. She claims it was because she was a girl. Brett says that was bullshit. Brett says because of scheduling conflicts. Of course, Rhonda Singh is no longer alive, so she can't speak up for herself on that. Right. So what I heard was Dynamite felt bad for her, Dynamite Kid, and Owen Hart. And Dynamite actually got his connection set up in Japan to get her over in Japan to start training over there. So she spent a good portion of her time in Japan as as Monster Ripper. And then got Bruce Hart's like, or Stu was like, isn't that girl come to train with us? Why is she over there? So they brought her over there, and that's when she became Rhonda Singh, and she was part of, with Gamma Singh and Muckin Singh and all that. And then eventually she came over here, or she went back and forth between that in Japan, and got the spot. Thanks to Medusa. Medusa, also vouched for her as well.
Right.
Because that's when Medusa was when Alundra was champion. Medusa, Alundra, Debbie, whatever. At this time, they incorporated a lot of her, Japan talent. And Rhonda, although from Canada, had a very strong following as Monster Ripper over there.
Yep.
And Arthur points out that originally this was supposed to have been Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano, but Bull got fired due to being tested positive for cocaine. So that's why Bertha ended up getting the spot in this match. But yeah, for how this was, this match, if the Bertha Faye character, not the best character for a woman during this time. If they had brought her over as Monster Ripper or Rhonda Singh or what have you, and this match went on a couple more minutes, I think this could have been something special. But
they kind of already had the female badass with Bull Nakano, and then they'd also bring in Aja Kong too, who was another female badass from Japan. To have a third big badass woman, it just overcrowds it. So they had to give her something different. They give her Harvey Whippleman, and they're going to make them this loving couple. And she thinks she's, a different size than she actually is and all that stuff. And, it just, you need a character, I guess. It was television. It's a television base. So it has to
Monster Ripper was just like, Monster Ripper was just like Bull, and Aja Kong had the face paint and the leather and the chains and all that. So, they could have just went with the Rhonda Singh gimmick, but whatever. Yeah. She was Rhonda Singh in WCW also, but it was just like Bertha Faye though.
Right. Yeah. It was the same thing. This match is it's a lot of punch and kick from Alundra, because what else can you do? She does the Hurricane Rana in the match at Frankensteiner, whatever you want to call it. It's a lot of Bertha going for something, and Alundra moves, and she tries to capitalize, leads to the powerbomb finish. And Alundra does the one thing I cannot stand. 1, 2, 3. The kick out at 3 thing. Hate that.
Yeah.
Because it's confusing. It's totally confusing. Like, I think my wife stopped.
No, it is.
Like, did she screw up there? Was that wrong? I was like,
yeah, I thought that too. I thought it was a botched finish. That's what I thought.
Exactly. So it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But in the end, Bertha Faye defeated Alundra Blaze in 4 minutes, 14 seconds to become the new women's champion. And shortly after this, to my knowledge, I believe they at one point gave the damn title to Harvey Whippleman. After this.
Or they dressed him in drag or something like that, or Harvina Whippleman.
Like that. Yeah. I just know that at one time during this period, Harvey Whippleman was the women's champion at one time.
Well, I was going to say, didn't Alundra regain the belt back from Ronda?
I don't remember.
I think she did.
I think so.
She had to have regained it at some point.
Oh, it was 2000 when Whippleman won the belt. I thought it was during this time. Apparently, James says it was in 2000.
2000. Oh, okay. Okay.
I knew at one point Whippleman had the belt, so that's
why she gets the belt back. She has to get the belt back to throw it in the trash on Nitro sometime later.
And get blackballed for about
that's
19
true, yes.
years. Mm-hmm. Whew. But regardless, half of the show down. Now we get to the second half of the card, and we kick it off with a special attraction match, the casket match between The Undertaker versus Kama. And of course, this all stems from all the way back to the Royal Rumble when Undertaker's urn got stolen by the $1 Million Corporation. And then at WrestleMania, you would see the urn get stolen again by Kama and then melted down into a gold chain he would wear. So now they build up. Undertaker has to get his power from something. The Creatures of the Night need to have a couple of fans dressed in all up in black and dark makeup with a black wreath to give Taker some power. And then Kama, being the supreme fighting machine, going wrecking shit, and then ends up destroying the wreath. The Creature of the Night comes in to pick it up and then gets his ass whooped by Kama, and that's how we get to this match here. And to be honest, for a casket match, this is one of the better casket matches you're going to see, but it's not really saying much, because typically casket matches to me tend to be formulaic and kind of follow a similar pattern. And of course, going all the way back to the first ever casket match when it was called the Coffin Match with Kamala, may he rest in peace, at Survivor Series 92, it started the whole cliche of every person feuding with Undertaker is scared of caskets. They didn't really do that too much with this feud. It really wasn't being played out, which is something refreshing for a casket match, and I feel that's part of the reason why I feel this is one of the better casket matches you're going to see. I thought it was an alright match. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Then again, when you have Charles Wright and Mark Calloway, two lifelong friends, they're not going to have a terrible match. They're going to work with each other fairly well.
They were tag partners in the Memphis territory. So yeah, they've been boys forever. They're BSK bros. So there's that. One great thing about this match is you get to see Paul Bearer be way more animated at ringside.
Yeah. Like he wanted to go after DiBiase a couple times.
Right. He takes his jacket off and he's like threatening DiBiase, and the crowd's getting behind him. They're loving it. You get to see like a little bit of like Percy Pringle style coming out there, instead of just Paul Bearer hanging onto the urn doing the facials and everything. No, he gets to go out there and have fun, and because being a babyface manager sucks, especially if you don't have another manager on the other end to play off of. And let's face it, DiBiase was not a great manager. He was just there because he couldn't wrestle anymore, so you had to give him a spot somehow. Vince didn't want to give him up, so let's make him a manager. Let's make a new faction around him, which didn't work. So it was great to see that aspect of the match. This match is also a lot of punch and kick for two big guys. They're going to throw it at each other all they got. But still, there's not a whole lot more they're going to do. It's a lot about playing off the casket. It was sad to see them open the casket up there and that piece falls off with the purple felt on it that was taped pretty much to the top, to the lid. I was like, ooh, that's not good carpentry work right there, boys.
Yep. But anything you want to add into this, Walt?
I mean, it's like you said, it was okay for what it was. You also got to remember, we're at the very Undertaker's very Frankenstein's monsterish is still at this point.
Still doing the more dominant stuff. You wouldn't see him start doing more wrestling until the match with Bret Hart at Royal Rumble. That would be when you start to see that transition.
It served its purpose. I mean, not only were like Undertaker's opponents like afraid of caskets, but they all were obsessed with the fucking urn. Everybody wanted to get that urn.
Always.
Yeah. Going all the way back to Rumble 94 with the casket match with Yokozuna when they opened the urn and the green smoke coming out.
And his soul is leaving, his power leaves and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Undertaker died.
Yep.
It was like the cool spot where they're both in the casket and the refs are like, no.
What do we do? No, don't mess with it.
No. And then you see Kama crawl out, and then like it's a horror movie. Undertaker pulls him back in to the thing, and he sells it really well. So there's little aspects like that.
A spot they would repeat in the match with Shawn at Rumble 98.
Oh yeah, of course. And so the match probably went a little longer than it needed to.
Probably about 5 minutes longer than it should have. Because this was actually the second longest match on the card.
It was fair. It was a fair match. But it was a little too long and a little drawn out. And also wasn't as dynamic as Undertaker's later work. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
And always placement on the card can make a big factor, but hindsight's 2020. You know, you could have put it in a different spot, may have functioned better, but what are you going to do now? It's over and done with.
Right. And in the end, Undertaker defeated Kama in 16 minutes 26 seconds.
Yeah.
But didn't quite get the urn back yet.
Nope.
That wouldn't happen till later into the year. But moving on to another match with some build and story. Bret Hart versus Dr. Isaac Yankem DDS. Oh, yes. Oh, Glenn.
Oh, yes. Let's continue
man.
this wonderful feud.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, this stems from the long-standing Bret Hart-Jerry Lawler feud going 2 years at this point. And we talked about this with King of the Ring 95, and this stems really from the Kiss My Foot match after Bret wins, shoved his foot in Lawler's mouth, and then took Lawler's foot, put it into his own mouth, leading up to him going to the dentist to get his teeth cleaned. Yep. And here we meet Isaac Yankem DDS. Next! And then ripping teeth out, like, ooh. And Lawler's like, he's a great wrestler, and he'll extract Bret Hart out of the WWF. But hey, something for Glenn Jacobs to do in his early beginnings in the WWF. And, yeah.
Yeah, Glenn came up from Smoky Mountain. He was Unabomb, teaming with Al Snow. He had come from Puerto Rico, working as Doomsday. He had done other gimmicks, too. Throughout that time, but really Puerto Rico Doomsday is where he got a big break. Dutch Mantell saw him down there, called Jimmy, said, you got to use this kid, sent him back to Tennessee. He got the spot. It was supposed to be Unabomb, Glenn Jacobs, and Eddie Gilbert, but then Eddie Gilbert got tapped to book Puerto Rico. So he went and did that, and that's when Al got the spot with Smoky Mountain after he was in the corner of Dan Severn when Dan Severn was lost to Ken Shamrock. And Al Snow cut the infamous promo. So what are you going to do now after this match is over, Dan? He's going to go back and have sex. What do you think he's going to do? And Jimmy had no idea what kind of a smartass he was until he saw that. He's like, bring him on in. So he became the loudmouth heel to get all the heat for the tag team with the big guy. So, and that's how Al Snow Unabomb became a tag team. And we know Al got the chance with the Avatar gimmick and where that went and everything else. Glenn gets his first shot with this, with the Dr. Isaac Yankem.
Yeah. So we get this match with Bret, and I mean, the match was good. I mean, during this time, apart from that god-awful match with Bob Backlund at WrestleMania 11, Bret didn't have a bad match this year, apart from WrestleMania 11, which, oh, the less I talk about that, the better. But we probably have to talk about it if we ever do a WrestleMania 11 episode.
Well, we got to. We've done so much 95, we probably have to.
I was
at WrestleMania, so I have to talk about it to purge my soul.
But yeah, for what it was good. I mean, Glenn showcasing that he has athletic ability. I mean, hell, doing a top rope hangman leg drop to Bret, that was pretty insane. Mm-hmm. Didn't really see Kane do a whole lot of that.
WWF run, too. That's a hell of a way to start your run.
Yeah, by doing some crazy stuff like that. And, of course, Lawler being on commentary, being himself, and being like, extract him, Isaac, kill him, or whatever else. And just typical heel Lawler at this time on commentary. But the finish to the match, a little bit odd, but I could see why they did it, because you have this big guy in Isaac Yankem. You don't want to have him lose his first pay-per-view match straight up. You don't want Bret to lose straight up either. So a DQ finish, I guess, made sense in this case. And it kept... I don't remember if the feud really kept going. To me, it kind of fizzled out after this match. Because, I mean, you go into the next pay-per-view, In Your House 3, Bret's working with Jean-Pierre Lafitte. Not anybody affiliated with Yankem or Jerry Lawler.
Or Lawler. So, and also the referee screws up, too. He counts to 6 before he disqualifies Yankem. It's legit. He counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then he remembers oh shit, I got to DQ him.
DQ, ring the bell. So yeah, weird finish, a botched finish, but the idea behind it I can sort of get. However, now in hindsight, the fact that the feud didn't continue, now it makes me think, well, maybe they could have done something a little bit better if but it is what it is. Bret Hart beats Isaac Yankem by disqualification in 16 minutes 7 seconds.
You got to give Glenn a lot of credit hanging with Bret in this match. He's able to hold his own. Does a great job being there for him, selling his ass off. He does a really good selling there. So, and Bret's able to work with him. He notice
and got to pick him up for the classic backbreaker, which he almost looked like he struggled a little bit, but he managed to do it.
That was one thing I wanted to mention too. Notice how loose the ropes were throughout the show, because every time they would hit those corners, it'd be like a gunshot going off. Usually it's not that loud. You realize why they had to be loose, because of the hangman spot that Bret does at the end of this match. You cannot have tight ropes. Ask Mick Foley what it's like when you have tight ropes. You do that spot. so that was another aspect of this match. Like, you see guys hit those ropes and they go out to the freaking fifth row. I mean, they're really, really loose, and those are dangerous.
Yeah, because I mean, you could ask Akeem, the African Dream, who went through ropes to trying to run him and goes right through in a classic botch.
Walt and I have seen plenty of guys go through ropes. Oof. It's scary. Yeah. It is scary. That's why when you hit the ropes, you always grab it. If you watch wrestlers, when they hit the ropes, they always grab that top rope. That's why you do that. If that thing breaks and you grab it, you can hang on to it because it'll hopefully save your ass. If you don't grab that rope, you're going to go out to the floor and maybe crack your skull and die.
I've seen big, experienced men not grab that top rope and look what happened.
Yep. So that's why you're supposed to do that.
Yeah. And real quick before moving on, James just said that apparently Yankem and Bret had a cage match on Raw not long after with Lawler in a shark cage, and Lawler got a nosebleed in the cage.
From being up too high?
Yeah.
Dumb.
But now moving on.
I was going to say, this was obviously a test for Glenn Jacobs. I mean, it was make or break for him because look what it led to.
Yeah.
It eventually just
fake Diesel.
Fake Diesel.
Fake Diesel, yeah.
And then finally Kane.
Walter, your camera's covered there. We're missing. We don't see you. Something's blocking you. There you go.
There you go.
It's actually it's a strand from my daughter's graduation hat from 2009. How weird is that? I thought something was wrong with my camera for a second.
No. Just something hanging out in the middle there. Hey, go ahead.
So now we get to the penultimate match of the night, the second of 3 championship matches for the Intercontinental Championship, a ladder match. Shawn Michaels defending against Razor Ramon, the long rematch after the Classic at WrestleMania 10. Before we get into it, though, we gotta point out, originally, this was supposed to have been a one-on-one match for the title between Shawn and Sid. In that sense, it makes sense considering the night after WrestleMania, Sid turned on Shawn, joined the $1 Million Corporation. Seemed like it was going to build up to this. But I honestly feel like, and James has said it on his From the Vault on this show, and I think a lot of people would agree, the reason why they changed the match was because Vince probably looked at this card and thought, we need something to this card to make it special. So why not do a rematch of the Classic from 15 months prior at WrestleMania 10? Shawn and Razor for the title once again, but they didn't leave Sid out entirely. You would see Sid backstage throughout the match because they said that he would get a shot at whoever wins on the September 11th episode of Raw. Why on a Raw? I don't know, but oh well. But anyways, this match, while not as good as their match at Mania 10, still a classic ladder match. Although they had that one stipulation where they couldn't use the ladder as a weapon. But yet they still used it as a weapon, which...
Yeah.
yeah, but whatever. But yeah, a lot more brutal spots in this match than high spots. I mean, you had a couple high spots here and there, but it was more about just kind of like what you would see, like we talked about in an episode last week with Rock and Triple H, more brutality involving the ladder and a little more wrestling based.
Right.
So,
a little more of Razor and a heel psychology. Razor was working the leg throughout the match. So
and this was a babyface match. There was no heels in this match, unlike Mania 10 where Shawn was the heel.
Well, here's the thing with those babyface versus babyface matches. There's always gonna be a heel.
Somebody that works heel in the match.
Right. You have to have
exactly. And that was Razor. That was Razor.
Yeah, he's the big burly dude. He's the ugly heel type dude instead of Sean, the good looking baby face type thing. But we did allude to it earlier. Sean shows his attitude in this match. Right away, the referee puts the belt up there wrong. He demands it come down so they can adjust it because he wants that last spot that he screws up when he reaches for the belt and it doesn't come loose so he could get that belt and have that big fall, because that's what Razor did the year before. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't get that. He goes to grab it and it just bing, ding, 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 ding. And he goes straight down, gets up, kicks the ladder, shoves shit around, finally puts it in position, goes up and just nonchalantly grabs the fucking thing in a huff. So yeah. I mean, that's Sean for you at that time. Mm. But regardless of his attitude, it's still a great match. They still both work their asses off. Sean does take some hellacious freaking bumps in there. He takes the one bump where he gets the leg caught in the ladder and stuff like that.
And probably the most painful spot of the match was the suplex Sean takes from the inside to the outside, and he almost breaks his ankle on the fucking rail when he landed on the floor.
This is the second match that has that inside-outside suplex to the floor thing. And it takes the fall-away slam off the second rope there and the super avalanche fall-away slam there, and they try to just up the ante a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, also the Kliq boys, they're a crew, but they're also all selfish egomaniacs, and they want to go out there and steal the show. Sean and Scott are looking at each other. They're looking at Kev, and they're like, "Sorry, dude, we're taking this show.
Yeah,
we know we can take the show, and we're taking it." So
and they saw Paul and like, well, you can have a pretty solid beginning for yourself, and then Waltman, sorry about your luck, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about your
funny freeze. Damn! There was a funny. That's probably the best freeze face I've seen.
Nice. I was gonna try to take a picture of it. Oh, how awesome it was.
Well, you can take a screenshot of it whenever the video's posted. Oh, that was great, but
always happens.
Yeah, but in the end, Shawn Michaels retains the Intercontinental Championship in 25 minutes 4 seconds, and then after the match, a couple things. First, you get the respect hug, handshake between Shawn and Razor, and something we've been forgetting to mention all night throughout this show, you would get the segments with Dean Douglas.
Dean Douglas giving his
insight. Telestrator.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And he's defining Razor's performance as bad, and then Razor comes back and he's like, I don't need some armchaired quarterback telling the bad guy what he's got to do. And then it leads to the little feud these two would have for the next couple of pay-per-views over the Intercontinental title. So
actually, we're the first. They had their own match against each other, and Shane won. And then Shane was supposed to wrestle Shawn for the IC title
before he had to surrender the title, and then Razor wins it from Dean.
And then Razor got the belt back, and that's
how it all stemmed. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed like with this they were going to push Dean Douglas until he hit the wall of the Kliq.
Yep.
Hence why Shane Douglas still hates the Kliq to this day. Apart from Waltman, he doesn't hate Waltman, which is interesting.
I think the story goes, it depends who you talk to, but the story goes that Scott Hall worked Shane Douglas in Europe, I think it was, somewhere on a European tour. And they had a match, and Dean asked to go, Dean Douglas, Shane, he asked to go home early or something like that. And Scott's like, okay. They go home early, they go in the back. You okay? Everything okay? He's like, yeah, I was just a little tired out there. And Hall took offense to that. And Hall's exact quote is, motherfucker, take some goddamn pills and suck it up. That's on Scott's side. They thought that Shane felt like he was too big for the business, went out there, gave a half-ass performance in this match with him, and didn't want to give the people they were all giving their money's worth. That's their point of view of it. You have to get Shane's side of it to see what he thinks.
And what would you say was Shane's side of it?
I would say that Shane probably didn't do that.
No.
And he probably felt that the Kliq were getting too full of themselves and didn't want to feed into their bullshit. So he probably kept to himself. And I'm guessing the Kliq probably took offense to that. Like, oh, you want to be a superstar. You want to be all by yourself. This is the problem with the wrestling business. There's not a lot of people in the major companies that wanted to communicate with each other. There was a lot of supposed, assumptions going on, speculation, what a person's attitude was. Not everybody is in the business to make friends. Everybody's there supposedly to make money, but not everybody's there to make friends. Some people are social. Some people are, they're introverts. They don't want to be social. The people that are social, that see the people as introverts, want them to be social. The introverts don't want to be social, so the social people see that as being a prick. So it's really tough to gauge.
Yeah, it's really tough to figure out like what really happened, because with those two sides, it's like, who the hell knows?
And that's another guy Scott and I have worked with. I've worked with Shane on a few occasions, wrestling shows and conventions, and he's a consummate professional and a great guy.
Yeah. So, I went to have dinner with him. The guy's great. I drove in the car with him. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't give him onions, though. He's allergic to onions. You give him an onion, he will die.
Oh,
Don't
really?
give Shane Douglas onions. Mm-hmm. He ordered a burger.
The clerk knew that shit.
I took him to the Denny's after a show one night, and he went to order a cheeseburger, and he told the waitress several times, I can't have onions on it. Can't be onions. The burger came, it had onions on it. And he looked at her, like, seriously, you want to kill me? What? There's onions on that. Oh, I'm so sorry. He was cool about it. He was not being a dick at all. He just said, I can't eat it now because the onion has been there. I can't eat it. So she was like so apologetic, took it off the bill, all that stuff. I was buying, so I didn't care, whatever. But yeah, so there is that deal too. There may have been a $20 bill that got a little like thought bubble drawn on it, and there may have been written in that thought bubble, but I can't confirm that.
And on top of that, James just commented, Shane's side is Ric Flair this, Ric Flair that.
Flair's dead.
And I forgot to mention, too, with how Shane Douglas is as a person, back when I used to do the call wrestling stuff, he actually did voiceover for himself for one of those call shows. No joke. And I was like, wow. Holy shit, that's really happened?
Shane, Troy Martin, whatever you want to call him, he is a smart dude. He is a very smart guy, book-wise, wrestling-wise. So he just gets, I think, flack for how he carries himself. Jim Cornette said one time, Shane would probably be happy if he could wrestle himself and referee the match. So it kind of tells you what kind of personality he has.
But anyways, oh sweet Jesus, we've made it to this.
Let's get through this fast.
Up next is the main event.
Here we are.
Up next is the main event of SummerSlam 1995 for the WWF Championship. Champion Diesel versus challenger King Mabel. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The worst main event in the history of SummerSlam. Fuck this match straight to hell. Ugh. Fuck this match.
It's Giant Baba versus Abdullah the Butcher.
You got it. You got it.
A lot of nerve holds and rest holds.
It takes a lot to make Kevin Nash look fast.
Yeah.
And Mabel's able to do that. He makes Kevin look fast.
And of course, the infamous part about this whole thing was the way the story goes. Nash told Mabel backstage, because Mabel always used to do the sit-down splash on his opponent's back, the back flop, and Nash told him, don't do that. And he goes out and fucking does it. It's like, yeah, you done fucked up big time, because you about crippled the world champion who's a part of the clique, and will have your ass fucked over immediately. Yep. So yeah,
he injured guys prior to that. He injured Fatu Rikishi.
And then injures Diesel here, and would go on to injure Undertaker. So yeah, 3 strikes, you're out. We'll repackage you in about 3 years as Viscera and see how you do then.
I think they sent him to USWA shortly after this.
Yeah,
I think they let him hang out there for a little bit, and then they sent him packing.
And then, of course, the story goes that afterwards, apparently Vince wanted to fire Mabel after doing that, but Nash shockingly went to bat for him, like, don't do it, Vince. Just don't fire him. But, of course, one of the big confusing things, you get to the finish where Mo interferes, he and Mabel are beating up Diesel, out comes Lex Luger.
Yep.
And at first he gets hit by Diesel. It's like, what's going on? And then Luger's beating up Mo, sending him backstage. Last we would see of Lex Luger on WWE television ever, apart from network stuff. Mm-hmm. And in the end, weird ass fucking finish. Diesel doing a forearm from the second rope. 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. Diesel beats Mabel in 9 minutes, 14 seconds to retain the title in the worst main event in the history of this show. Fuck this match. I hope it burns in hell in the history of wrestling.
Thank you, fuck you, bye.
Yeah, exactly.
It was pretty bad.
Horrible.
I tried to find some redeeming qualities about it, and
there really isn't. And of course, this would be the last time, like I said, you would see Luger on television. And speaking of Luger, I forgot to mention this too. Prior to SummerSlam, British Bulldog would turn heel prior to the pay-per-view. But yeah, he wasn't on the card. You would see him walk into the arena, but they had nothing for him to do. Nothing. And in fact, prior to them deciding to turn Bulldog heel, which, by the way, in hindsight, stupid decision. Why turn Davey heel? He's too likable to be a heel. Second off, we brought up earlier with how with the Guns versus the Blue Brothers being the only tag match and there was no tag title match. Supposedly, the original plan was supposed to be Owen and Bulldog, or not Bulldog, Owen and Yoko versus Bulldog and Luger for the titles. But because they wanted to turn
Bulldog heel,
put the kibosh to that. So there you have it.
The Allied Powers. The Allied Powers was the team name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But in the end, so with SummerSlam 95, a lot of people said that this was the worst SummerSlam of all time. I'm going to say not really.
No.
I thought 93 was worse. 99 was worse. I feel this is definitely better than a lot of people give it credit for.
Overall,
you had quite a few really good matches on the card. It's just sucks it happened during a terrible time in wrestling and a bad main event. But where would I rank this in overall SummerSlams?
I don't know.
I would. It's still a bottom tier SummerSlam, but not quite the lowest.
It's not the low. Yeah, exactly.
It's one of the lowest, but not the lowest, and it's mostly because of how some plans got changed, and you had a terrible main event to end this show off. But it still had a lot of redeeming qualities to it. Hakushi and Waltman, Guns and the Blue Brothers, solid match between Hunter and Holly, Horowitz Skip. Okay casket match, good Brett Yankin match, classic ladder match, but a bad women's title match and a terrible main event. So now, time for best match and worst match, and honestly, this is super easy. Best match goes to Shawn versus Razor for the IC title for me. Worst match goes to Diesel and Mabel in the main event.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree on both those.
Yeah, I'm unanimous on that one, too.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's really hard to argue that.
Real quick.
The main event, I usually don't try to shit on too many main events because it's supposed to be what sells the tickets.
What sells the show, yeah.
And
for that, it did its job for selling, but
it did.
Doesn't deliver.
Yeah.
So this was the best match on the card according to Al Snow.
Oh, Lord. If I saw Al Snow and he said this was the best match, I'd probably smack him in the face, be like,
no, you don't want to. No, you don't want to. No, don't.
I'm crazy, man.
Levi, we want to keep this show going. We want you alive and healthy. Do not smack Al Snow. He will kill you.
Whatever he says, just agree. You'll be fine.
Just don't even disagree. Just nod your head.
Yes,
That's it.
Like, okay.
Just keep moving.
Okay.
Smarter than you. Just remember that. He's smarter than all of us.
Why? Because
he's made a living at pro wrestling for years. We haven't.
Wouldn't fuck with him either. It's still as a physical. One, I've seen him in a bad mood. It's scary. Okay, and two, he's got a legit fighting background. So he trained Dan Severn for UFC.
Yep, and he's a monster. God damn,
he's scared. He's scared the shit out of JP Black. He scared JP Black when he was backstage at Raw. He's like, yo, I saw He goes, I saw Al in a bad mood. No.
But anyway, so for those watching in the chat, send us questions, and I'll let these two talk for a little bit because I gotta go unload some groceries. I'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Go be a good boy.
Al Snow has entered the chat.
End of chat. Yeah, you guys got questions out there, throw them at us. We don't mind talking to you guys. And thank you to everybody who's been sticking around and giving us feedback tonight and clarifying some stuff. Arthur, James, all you guys. So I appreciate that. And so I mean, we're this is how many pay-per-views we've done? 95. We've done a couple so far. We did King of the Ring.
We did King of the Ring. We did King of the Ring. I think we did a Survivor Series. I think Survivor Series.
Did we? Did we do it? I don't remember. I don't have the formats in front of me, but
yeah.
But we're seeing once again. This is the that tail end of that wrestling recession where things are being put into place that are going to build in 96 and 97 to the Attitude Era, and the eventual big boom in 98, 99.
Yep. Absolutely. Thoughts on TakeOver last night, Scott?
Oh, enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Great fucking show. When is the TakeOver bad?
Well, I will say In Your House, the last TakeOver, I was not excited about that one. I just couldn't get into it as I normally do. Last night, I was getting, I could get into it again. Finish of the show, the main event, I didn't see that coming. I was shocked that they put the title on Cross. It's not a bad thing. But
it might be going back on Keith soon. So if I hear is true,
that or Keith's going to get moved. That could happen too. In a perfect world, I would have loved to have seen after Keith Lee had the North American title and won the NXT title, have Keith Lee versus Walter, winner take all. I would have loved to have seen that. But again, perfect world, we don't live in that.
We could be seeing a Walter face turn and have him fight Karrion Kross.
That could happen. That could be something.
Yep. Women's match last night was solid.
Yep. Women's match really good. Ladder match was crazy.
Ladder match was. I'm very about ladder matches because let's be honest, they've been going on for about 30 or a little under 30 years now, about 25 years, repetitively with a lot of the same stuff going on. But this was a little different. This was fun. There was some a little more innovative spots in it, and it was just an overall good ladder match. I did enjoy it, and the right guy won. Too.
Yeah, that was my call. I called Damian Priest on that one. Opening match, Thatcher
and Balor.
It's getting to, I'm sorry, but it's like Finn's kind of like becoming like Undertaker. He's never going to lose. It's you did not see Thatcher beating Finn Balor. So that's where I was like, okay, it was kind of cool. A lot of chain wrestling, good selling and all that stuff. But it's like, who's going to be somebody that could actually put over on Finn? Unless they want to build Finn and Cross, they want to do something there.
You could definitely do that.
Pat McAfee, fuck him. Fuck Pat McAfee, that no-selling sack of shit. Fuck him.
Now, here's the thing. A lot of people, including respected friends in the business of ours, are putting this match over. Scott has a very different perspective.
Yeah, they're wrong. Horribly wrong. He didn't sell.
Athleticism, I give him a good grade on the athleticism.
Okay, no.
That's
athleticism.
That's where you're taking over.
King Kong Bundy was not athletic, okay? But he still sold tickets. He knew how to sell. Pat McAfee didn't sell shit. It was embarrassing for Adam Cole.
No, the thing first of all, everyone's popping about the dive. He dives and he sits back up and does this.
He woos. He doesn't sell. He just fucking lands looking around like, yeah, I'm the fucking man. No, you piece of shit. You're supposed to sell that. But no, he doesn't.
Yeah, and the finish, that's the one that pissed me off, okay? Cole finally fucking hits the super kick. And McAfee sits, even though Cole does say, look at me, McAfee, look at me. McAfee sits up and looks at him like aware.
Like nothing.
Yeah. Here we go. He said, okay, here comes the finish. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, if McAfee just laid out on his back, Cole stood over him and pointed down, you look at me because I'm going to finish you off now. Then all I've got to do is get in the corner, wait for McAfee to slowly get up, and then hit the finish, and then make the pin. But no, McAfee sits right up like Undertaker. Right up and looks at Adam Cole and kind of has a shit look on his face. It's like, no, that means he's alert. That means he's aware. That means the super kick had no effect on him. Okay, or little effect on him. Okay, he should be selling that super kick. He should be dazed. He should be like not knowing where he's at.
Put McAfee back on his podcast. Put him back on the frickin' the roundtable discussion things. Get him out of the ring because he's bad for business.
Rip Rogers is putting I'm like fucking shocked that Rip Rogers is putting this over because he helped train McAfee. From what I heard.
Well, of course he could help train him because he's a big superstar and people think he's something special. No, he's not. Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
Oh, Levi just had to go do something. He's coming right back. But thanks for stopping in, man. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that was
on the air.
Yeah, we fired him. That was the one.
Send him packing.
Now, what else did we have on the show, though?
Well, we had the opening Finn Balor and Thatcher match. Good, straight up catch as catch can. Ladder match. Right guy won, like you said. Had a lot of good twists and turns in it. Women's match was good. There's another match I'm missing. Oh, the Pat McAfee Adam Cole match. We know how that went. And the main event. So it was 5 matches.
Cesaro was in the audience. We're wearing a mask.
Cesaro was in the audience. Bailey, Sasha were in the audience. And
that's right.
The highlight of the audience for me, Shotzi Blackheart. She's thrashing around every intro. I love her. So, yep.
Now, going to AEW, this is my take on it, okay? They did a hell of a job having Brody beat the shit out of Cody. All right. The match itself was he comes in, Cody jumps him, and Brody gets the upper hand shortly thereafter and just dominates him. Match is short. It's like 4 or 5 minutes, if that. Now here's one thing that he destroys him with a couple of power bombs and then hits him with the lariat. Here's the one thing that aggravates me. This is what I hate about having the wrestlers in the audience. Okay. Here's how NXT does it better because those are guys that are on the undercard of NXT that you don't see on TV, that you see at the house shows, so you don't really recognize them, okay? A lot of them are also Performance Center trainees who haven't had a match yet. In the audience at the AEW show is Sonny Kiss going, and they just had Sonny have a match with Cody a few weeks back, and now they got him back in the audience acting all afraid and concerned and upset and intimidated. No. Sonny Kiss proved himself in that match. Cody Rhodes, he should be back fucking stage, being ready to fight. Okay, not in the audience. Okay, get one of QT Marshall students in there and have them be the audience.
Yeah.
Now the other thing that aggravated me was, and I wouldn't say it was a bad thing, it was just too much too soon. The Dark Order gangs up on. They're stretching Cody out. Okay, Cody's got oxygen hooked up to him too, and a neck brace. They're ushering him out, and they stop so Cody can put his thumbs up to acknowledge to the crowd that he's okay. The Dark Order jumps Cody and Arn Anderson, and they beat up Arn Anderson, and they drag Cody off the gurney so Brody can hit him with the belt. So Cody's laying out, a mess. Arn Anderson's knocked out. They drag out Dustin Rhodes, okay, and throw him on top of Cody. And then they bring out, and Brandy comes storming out, and another member of there's a female member of the Dark Order, I forgot her name, comes in and chokes out Brandy. So the show ends. Mind you, with the exception of Brody Lee, the Dark Order looks like a bunch of dorks. They do. They look like a bunch of like little minions, okay? They got to have a more imposing, scary look, okay? They're not that scary looking. And the show ends with the Dark Order all standing over the whole. Oh, they beat up QT Marshall and bring him out too. So the whole Nightmare family is laid out. That was a bit much. Why couldn't they just take one member of the family out each week and make Brandy the last one? Because that's where you get the most heat because they're going after Cody's woman there. But they got to do it, all of it at once. And the thing that's going to upset me and piss me off is I have a bad feeling Brody's not going to have that belt in another couple of weeks or another month from now.
Probably
He'll
not.
He'll be back on Cody. He did a great job. First off, they never should have fucking done the Moxley match where he ends up losing by submission. And second, they should have just kept building him as a monster, then putting him there with Cody. But that's the thing. We know he can be beaten. That's the thing. We know he can beat because Moxley did it. And that's my problem with AEW is they fucking just burn out monster heels really fast. Jeff Cobb brought Jeff Cobb out. Jeff Cobb loses on a technicality to Moxley, but next thing you know, he's fucking selling to Darby Allin, who's like half the size of him. And don't get me started on Lance Archer. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Wow. They hot that guy in. Finally, he's getting his big shot. Finally getting the opportunity. They put him with Jake Roberts. now they have him sitting down in the audience every week.
So Levi,
Barely
to catch you up, Pat McAfee was mentioned in the comments. I just tore him apart. Fuck Pat McAfee, because we talked about NXT TakeOver last night, and Walt just talked about AEW. So we can get to some of the questions in there. James said, thoughts on the AEW selling tickets to the public? Can they do that? Is that legal? Is that okay to do right now? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know what the deal is with that. If they can sell tickets, well, they got to regulate that, and they got to make sure they keep them separated and everything else. So,
or put them outdoors,
or keep it outdoors there. AEW is too scared to do DQs or countouts. Apparently, very true. Matthew joins us. He says, "Hello, are we doing predictions for tonight?" Well, we can.
I mean,
I just don't know what the card is. I don't know what the card is, and Levi's not watching it. So
yeah. I mean, I could pull it up real quick.
Pull it up real quick. And let's see what we got.
I got it right here on my phone. I'll pull it up so we can read it off. Yeah. Scott and I are going to watch, so
I'm going to watch it.
So the SummerSlam card for tonight. So on the pre-show, we got a U.S. title match between Apollo Crews and MVP, in which Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are banned from ringside.
Okay.
I'd think Crews would retain.
Probably.
Yeah.
Crews on that.
Yeah. Raw tag title match, Street Profits defending against Andrade and Angel Garza.
Street Profits. They're pushing that long. They're pushing that long time. They are now they said this morning on the network. They are now the longest reigning tag team champions as opposed to 2016 draft. Whatever that means. Full disclosure: I don't watch Raw or SmackDown. I just catch the highlights on YouTube and read the write-ups. So I can't really speculate on what's been happening on television. But I'll go with Walt then. Street Profits retain. I check the write-ups, and if there's something that piques my interest, I just try to find a highlight of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next up, the no disqualification loser leaves WWE match: Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville. I see Mandy winning.
Well, let's see. Matthew just said, I think Sonya will win and beat Mandy. Otis will come out and cash in and give Sonya the case to save Mandy from retiring. Sonya will cash in and win the SmackDown title. Thoughts? I like where your mind's going, but I don't think that's going to happen. But that definitely would be something interesting to see.
Yeah.
I think Sonya wants to take a break, so I think she's going to lose.
It's been going on with her life.
Yeah, all the bullshit that's been going on in her life. Go ahead. All the bullshit that's been going on in Sonya's life lately, it might be time for her to take a little break and have to deal with that situation. So this is a way of writing her off television. So
this is why wrestlers are standoffish with you fans. This is why they don't want to spend a lot of time with you people, because this guy's got a lot of creeps out there. They don't know you. They don't know you. You may be a great person, but they're not going to know that. So.
And they don't owe you anything. Okay.
Nope.
They really don't.
What did I miss?
Oh, we're talking about the fact that Sonya Deville's been dealing with a lot of shit in her personal life with the guy who tried to kidnap her and everything. So this is probably a way to write her off television for a while to deal with that situation. And we're just commenting that wrestlers are not your friends. This is why they're standoffish with fans, because there's so many creeps out there that will just think that these people owe them or they're best buddies when they don't know them. They're people just like you and me.
Yep. Next up, the street fight between Dominic Mysterio and Seth Rollins.
I think
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Seth is going to pull a very watchable match out of this kid.
He is. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win, but Dominic's going to give a hell of a fight.
Yep. And here's the thing, everyone, all you fucking quote-unquote backyarders and, weekend warriors bitching about Dominic getting a shot. Oh, but, this kid gets a shot and gets a match on SummerSlam for his debut, and I can barely get a fucking tryout. It is what it is, dude, okay? Yeah. He's Rey Mysterio's son. He's been on television. He's been he's pretty much born into the business, okay?
Yep.
It's not his fault that he got into there fast. But I bet you he's been paying his dues and working hard off screen, okay? All right, you guys could barely fucking do a lockup right. So
when the wrestlers that we know, and we love them to death, but guys, you got to get your heads out of your asses sometimes. Because when we see a friend like or somebody we know on television and they get a spot as a security guard and everybody starts putting them over like, oh my God, you made it, dude. Really? That's lowering the freaking bar. We know guys that have gotten WWE trial matches, have wrestled on WWE television. That's the fucking spot you want, not just to be a walk-on or an extra, not in the ring wrestling. Got to up that level a little bit. Don't hurdle the lowered bar here. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Think better of yourselves. You're going to get a better opportunity.
Certain path you got to take. You got to do it right. I'm not going to mention names because it hasn't been broken, but there's a guy that Scott and I, we don't know him, but we're familiar with him. Just recently got signed to a developmental, and I don't recall him ever being a security guard or even have a one of the
tryouts or anything like that.
No,
on TV at all. So
whatever he did, he did it right. This guy's solid. This guy works his ass off too.
So hopefully you'll see him, sometime in the next year or so and get on television. Shoot for here, settle for here. But if you're shooting for here, go sell cars.
Yeah, not gonna say a name. Not gonna say a name.
Kayfabe, brother.
I will throw a hit. Clowns.
All right, it's the next match here. Next match.
Well, for predictions, I'm gonna say Seth wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with Seth on this one. He'll win, but it's gonna be a good match. He'll put Dominic over. He'll get him over.
Yep.
Next up, the 2 women's title matches. First for the SmackDown one, Bayley versus Asuka.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sasha versus Asuka for the Raw women's title. I mean, it would be cool if they give both belts to Asuka, and then something that they should have done with Becky at Mania 35, unify the damn belts. Please. They need
They're not going to do that. That's thing too. Okay, let's play with this for a minute. Asuka and Bayley. Let's say Asuka and Bayley's first, and Asuka beats Bayley, becomes SmackDown Women's Champion. When Asuka then wrestles Sasha, is the SmackDown title on the line as well?
No.
Does it say that?
No.
So if Asuka wins the SmackDown title and Sasha beats her, Sasha doesn't get the SmackDown title?
Nope.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Because we're looking at the eventual Bayley-Sasha feud again. We're looking at that. It's in our freaking face. How could you not see
Well,
that?
the question is, who would you have be the babyface now?
Sasha. Sasha's the babyface. Bayley has been too strong of a heel lately. I'm sorry. Bayley's doing a great job as a heel. She's really good in that spot. Sasha hasn't really had a good babyface run yet. Recently. Ever since she came back and she turned heel on Natty, and she's been on this heel run, she's not as over the top and as dominating as Bayley has been. So I think if you had a situation where Asuka beats Bayley for the SmackDown title, and then it's Asuka and Sasha put both belts on the line, and Sasha beats Asuka, so Sasha now has both the Raw and the SmackDown titles.
And
Bayley's
one half
be
of
really
the tag
pissed.
titles, too.
And, yes, the tag titles, too. Bayley's going to be fucking pissed. And that's great heat to build up that storyline. So you could go that way, it could go the other way. But
Bayley as the entitled Karen is fantastic. She's been great. Not good enough to make my daughter throw away her Bayley stuff. No, she sticks up for Bayley and justifies everything.
She got the Bayley hug, so she's not gonna give up on it.
Yeah. She gets where Bayley's coming from, is what she says. I get where she's coming from. I know why she feels this way. she got the Bayley hug. I mean, it's sorry. She's not gonna she's not gonna turn on her like that.
That's about like my buddy Michael, who got a kiss from Maria Kanellis when he was a kid. And no matter how much I can't stand Maria Kanellis nowadays, he always sticks up for her.
Of course.
So
nice.
Yeah.
I met Maria at Disney this past November. I was behind her and Mike. I was in front of her and Mike. And they just had the kid. They had the baby, and she was pregnant. And my wife let them. We were in the line for pictures. And my wife let them go up ahead, and they were very gracious, very thankful. Thing is, we had no idea it was Mike and Maria until we got back to the hotel.
Wow.
There you go. That's what being nice gets you, folks. So be nice, be decent.
But they were very nice people. They're very, very thankful to let them go ahead because Mike was struggling with the kid. Let's just say that.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with the women's title. There's so many different ways you could go. I wouldn't mind seeing Asuka get the Raw title, but maybe not the SmackDown. So we'll see.
Next up, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the WWE title. Drew. I keep hearing rumors thinking like Ric Flair will return and turn on Drew and join back up with Orton or some shit like that.
No, why?
That's stupid.
Nah.
I'm wondering what sort of surprises are we going to see, if any?
Yeah, if any. Yeah.
I mean,
Edge can make an appearance. Edge could possibly make an appearance.
That's very true. He could make an appearance and cost Randy this match because they still have one more to go.
Okay, is the SummerSlam's in Thunder? Is Thunderdome? Is SummerSlam in Thunderdome?
Yep.
It is in Thunderdome.
So you could conceivably see Edge's face pop up on all those screens.
Yep.
And a huge distraction for Randy. Now that you got the Thunderdome too, we're going to get to this next match too. The Fiend's entrance should be really good. There's so much they could fucking do with the Fiend with Thunderdome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now
I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with Thunderdome. I kind of hope they start to keep it going when they start letting fans back in.
Yeah.
I mean, a modified version of it. I mean, it looks cool.
Maybe on like the ceiling or something.
It adds more atmosphere now. It adds once. I mean, what else could you add to the performance center? They did what they could, but it really lacked atmosphere. And bringing the fans, the performance guys helped a little bit. But I think they are using also emulated crowd sounds in there as well.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
They are.
You just get tired of looking at the PC. You get tired of looking at that same set every single week for 3 different shows. It's different color scheme, sure, but it's the same thing over and over again. So it just gets tiring.
That's what Thunderdome is going to end up being.
Eventually, but right now it's fresh, it's different, so you get a new perspective.
Right. Although unless Thunderdome is completely customizable to where they can adjust it to make each set look different than you.
Yeah.
Also, they have the Amway Center, so they could add more extra props and such. I really wish they did WrestleMania. I wish they came up with this concept before, so they could have done Mania there. But I don't think.
The prep work for this is ridiculous. So they wouldn't have had time.
Thinking that far. They weren't thinking that far ahead.
They couldn't. They were still thinking about having the WrestleMania
at the stadium. Yeah.
At the stadium, yeah. So there was really no time for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Drew wins.
And then Braun versus The Fiend for the Universal title. Falls count anywhere.
So we could see Alexa get involved. I contemplate if you could see The Fiend win. Otis tries to cash in, and then The Fiend takes out Otis. But it seems more like The Fiend is going into this babyface transition.
Yeah.
And Braun is going back to being a heel. So
it's kind of tough. It's like, who the hell do you have win now that you've turned Braun heel and The Fiend's starting to become babyface? Like, who the hell do you have win?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see. I like that. I like that when it's not predictable. They can really mess with you like that. So it's fun.
I mean, if I had to go with a pick, I guess I would go The Fiend and then have Braun just go on a massive killing spree for a while until he could somehow get the belt back.
Mm-hmm.
And also with apparently Payback being next Sunday, like already a week after SummerSlam, you're doing Payback? Oh my god, I fucking hate the pay-per-view schedule these days. We could probably do a whole episode about like what they should do for pay-per-views, because I could go on forever about that.
Yeah, but the decisions right now have to happen at such a quick pace because there was still talk that this was still going to take place in Boston. The Hall of Fame was supposed to happen this weekend. After when everything went down WrestleMania, there was talk the Hall of Fame was going to happen SummerSlam weekend. That ain't happening, of course. So
it sounds like the next best possibility would be Survivor Series weekend.
Yeah, which probably ain't going to happen either.
Yeah, so they'll probably have to just wait till WrestleMania next year and do double the classes, I guess.
Maybe
2 classes in one night or something. I don't know. But I'm gonna go with The Fiend only because I think it'd be easier to just give him the belt back and then just have Braun just go on a massive rampage for a while until he were to somehow get the belt back in some fashion. But Oh, well. I mean, whoever wins, I'll be happy with, because at least it'd be in their mind the right call, because it's freshly healed Braun, freshly faced Fiend, so you could have a lot of different things happen.
Oh, fresh face Fiend. That's nice.
Fresh faced Fiend, yeah.
Fresh face Fiend.
with a side of French fries.
Yes.
Um,
did you watch the ending of SmackDown? Where you had 2 Ring of Honor World Champions like stand there in quivering fear over the Fiend.
No, I didn't see that. Who was it?
Big Noble and Adam Pearce.
Really? Oh, okay.
What happened was Braun beat the shit out of Bray, as Bray Wyatt, and then threw him
Funhouse
the
Bray.
loading. Funhouse Bray, thank you. And then threw him off the loading dock for the trucks. And so they put him on a gurney and put him in an ambulance. And Adam Pearce and Jamie Noble and Sanjay Dutt are all helping, trying to get him on there. And then the ambulance stops, and all of a sudden it starts shaking, and the red mist starts coming out of it. And the Fiend comes out of it, and he just stands there. And they turn the camera to Adam Pearce and Jamie Noble and Sanjay Dutt, and they're all like,
uh-huh.
and I'm like, wow, 2 Ring of Honor World Champions all staying there in fear. 2
Uh,
Ring of Honor World Champions and a TNA X Division standout.
Yeah, standout. Yep.
yeah.
Yes.
James just commented, speaking of Abyss, we have Joseph Parks on TV now. Yeah, that's interesting. I saw that on SmackDown with him and AJ. I'm like, is this a TNA reunion happening?
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
I called my son in. I called my son when he was on TV. My son loves Monster Heels. He likes the best. I'm like, guess what? This is on TV. And he comes running in. What the hell, Dad? He's like, that's not Abyss. I'm like, that's Abyss.
Yeah.
Let's show some Parks.
Oh.
Why is he there? He's like, think he'll become Abyss ever?
I don't think he'll ever be Abyss.
No.
As cool as it would be to see Abyss in WWE, it's too late for that.
Oh yeah, it's never.
It almost happened. It almost happened. He blew it on his own accord. So,
yeah, but it didn't. That's the point. But the fact that he got a job as a producer is real mind-boggling to me.
Yeah. So he can now join Jason Jordan in the production meetings.
Yeah, true. James
Speaking
says
of
could
Jason-
have got a thrown on IC title rematch with AJ and Hardy tonight. Who knows? It's possible they may just save that for SmackDown.
Probably.
I think this is going to be something to continue somehow the Jeff Hardy Sheamus feud, because Sheamus's one big goal he hasn't done is win the Intercontinental title.
Yeah,
so
because now, if he
there.
were to get the IC title, Grand Slam champion now.
Grand Slam.
Another
Right,
one
he's
to the
done that.
list.
Mm-hmm. So it could be something they're building to get AJ. Could be some triple threats with AJ, Hardy, and Sheamus, which would be good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Well, if nobody else has any questions, I think that's a good point to wrap up, because I'm getting hungry, and I still got to record a race for my Marvel Studios Cup Series, because I've been on a recording tear with that. Even though I've only gotten 7 races posted, I've got up to the penultimate race of the season recorded and edited. I got one last one to go, and then I'm done for a couple of months with that. And I still also got to edit a bunch of gaming videos, too, that I got to post at some point. But before we go, it's plug time. You can go subscribe to me, ThrashManiac99 on YouTube. My latest video, which was a Red Flags Terrible Dating Game Tabletop Simulator video called Pitching Me a Date with Zev Bellringer, has now, at this point, maybe it got like 260 views. Who the hell knows? And I know why, because I made a damn good thumbnail. That unfortunately about got me into trouble on Reddit by a fucking asshole who called me a simp. And I know, Scott, how much you hate that. And I hate that too, because it's like, fuck these people. But anyways,
Let me do my plug.
Go ahead. You got to take care of ribs.
Well, no, I got clouds. It's about to fucking thunderstorm, so I got to go save my room. All right, your Walt Ball for Twitter, smoking_Walt_ball for Instagram. Check out me and Scott on the Deckercasticon every Monday night on your favorite place where you do all your local fine-ass podcasting, or whatever Dan says. All right, let me get out of here. I got to go save some ribs. Dinner is ruined for SummerSlam. All right, guys.
Get some ribs. All right, we'll see you later. We'll see you next week.
Yes.
Next week.
SummerSlam 2002.
Yep.
And so continuing on what Levi was saying there, for me, you can find me on Mr. Scott Reacts, my reaction channel. Please go there and subscribe. Check out my videos. Doing a lot of Unleash the Archers lately. I've been tapped by some people out there to check out the entire album called Apex, which I have. I got 2 songs left to do. Been enjoying that. Other videos are ready to go up soon. Start doing top 10 lists on there. Halloween season is coming, so I'm looking forward to doing some horror-themed top 10s on there. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. Scott Reacts. And as Walt said, you find us on the Necrocasticon podcast, where we talk horror and heavy metal. It comes out to you every Monday on the Project Entertainment Network and wherever you get your fun-ass podcast.
But yeah, that's all the plugs. So, quick reminder, next week is the final episode of SummerSlam month. We will be talking 2002. Then, as far as September, we got Money in the Bank 2011 with possible guest Dylan Jacobs, Kamikaze Games, Unbreakable 2005, and a Fall Brawl of your choice. Whatever you guys want us to talk about for a Fall Brawl, you can. And then October, mostly Halloween Havoc month, but what we're going to do in the middle, we're going to do Evolution. November, Survivor Series month, and December, Starrcade month, and that is 2020 in a nutshell for the show. But until next time, well,
make sure you subscribe to this channel. Thank you all very much out there for watching the show. If you watched it live or you watch it after, we appreciate all the views we get. So please like the video, subscribe, all that cool stuff.
Yep. And one last thing. Scott, where's the jackass today?
The jackass is the one I'm looking at.
But anyways, horns high, and we'll see you next week.